The orders came down at 0300 hours, sharp as a knife through cold steel. No room for debate, no room for mercy. Just a single line broadcast across the encrypted fleet channels. USS Black Star is entering the war. All enemy contact is to be neutralized. No survivors. Commander Grant Mercer stared at the message on the holoscreen inside the warship's dim bridge. His jaw tightened. He'd seen combat, plenty of it, but this wasn't a mission. It was an execution order. He turned to his crew, men hardened by years of deep space patrols and skirmishes along the outer colonies. No wide-eyed kids here, no desk-bound strategists. These were wolves, and the Black Star was their den. "Gentlemen," Mercer spoke low, voice steady. "Command wants us to make an example. You know what that means." The helmsman, Carter, a lanky ex-miner with a permanent scowl, cracked his knuckles. "Means we don't leave nothing but wreckage behind." "Damn right," Mercer nodded. "Full war footing. Bring weapons to maximum charge, engines to combat burn. We're heading straight into the Sargon Expanse." The bridge lit up with activity. Men at their stations, fingers flying across control panels, arming railguns, loading torpedoes, spinning up the Black Star's dreaded plasma lances, weapons so devastating they had been banned in 2 previous wars. Banned didn't mean unused, not by the Black Star. In the cold void outside, the ship looked like a predator, a blackened hull designed to absorb sensor sweeps, jagged armor plating, heat dispersal fins glistening like the spines of some ancient sea beast. It moved with unnatural silence, unseen until it struck. The Sargon Expanse was crawling with enemy ships, the Creel Dominion. Arrogant, insectoid bastards who'd been raiding human colonies for years, enslaving civilians, gutting planets, and the Federation Council had let them. Too afraid of escalation. Too weak. But now, they'd unleashed the Black Star. "Approaching enemy patrol zone," Carter reported. "Cloak status?" Mercer asked. "Full cloak engaged. They won't see us coming." "Good. Weapons free on my mark. No warnings." Out in the darkness, 3 Creel destroyers drifted through the asteroid fields, scanning lazily. No formation discipline. No sign they expected a fight. "Idiots," Mercer muttered. He waited. Closer. Closer still. Then, fire. The Black Star came alive in a blaze of silent fury. A pair of railgun slugs punched through the first destroyer's hull, ripping its core reactor apart. No shields, no chance to react. The ship erupted in a bloom of white-hot plasma. Before the wreckage even cleared, the plasma lances cut across space, severing the second destroyer's engines and venting its crew into the void. No survivors. The third ship tried to flee. Too late. A cluster of gravitic torpedoes locked on, homing with relentless precision. The Creel ship shattered, its fragments spinning into the asteroid field. Silence returned. On the bridge, the men barely blinked. Mercer leaned back in his chair. "Log the kills. Clear the zone." 3 enemy vessels neutralized. 0 survivors, the tactical officer confirmed. But that was only the beginning. The Creel weren't fools. Once they realized what ship had entered the Expanse, they'd send reinforcements, maybe even their flagship. It didn't matter. Mercer keyed the comms. "All hands, prepare for full strike operations. We're not leaving this sector until there's nothing left to report home." He stood, straightening his combat vest. His reflection in the darkened viewport showed a hard face, tired eyes. A man built by war, no illusions left. "They called us in to send a message," he said quietly. "By the time we're done here, the whole damn galaxy will hear it." USS Black Star accelerated into the black, engines burning cold and fast, hunting the next target. No quarter, no mercy, no enemy left to tell the tale. The first kills were clean, surgical. the kind of strike the Black Star was infamous for, a ghost in the dark, leaving only twisted metal and radiation in its wake. But Mercer knew the real fight hadn't started. Not yet. Sitting in the command chair, he reviewed the latest sensor data. The Creel had scrambled a rapid response force, 5 warships inbound from their forward base. He could see their vectors, too direct, too fast. They knew. Somehow the name Black Star had already reached their command net. He could almost hear the panic in their cold-blooded clicks and hisses. 5 ships, heavy cruisers, Carter muttered. They're not messing around. Mercer smirked. Good. Maybe they'll put up a fight. He keyed the ship-wide communication. All hands, listen up. Enemy reinforcements inbound. This is no longer a clean sweep. Expect hard contact. Defensive batteries online. Gunnery crews fire at will. If they want a war... He paused, voice dropping lower. We'll give them hell. Across the ship, alarms sounded, low and steady, a heartbeat of steel and vengeance. In the weapons bay, Gunnery Chief Reddick stalked the firing crews, eyes blazing. Double feed the slugs. Plasma capacitors to overcharge. I want those damn barrels glowing. The Black Star's crew wasn't like the fleet regulars. They were men like Mercer. Soldiers who'd lost too much in this war already. Families gone to Creel slave ships. Colonies burned while Earth politicians debated sanctions. There was no talk of restraint here. No Geneva Code in the void. The 5 enemy ships broke into sensor range. Ugly bastards. Bulbous organic hulls, bristling with spines, weapons grafted onto bone metal plating. Creel tech always looked alive somehow. It didn't matter. The Black Star would gut them just the same. Helm, rotate 5 degrees starboard. Bring rail batteries to bear, Mercer ordered. Plasma banks, staggered discharge. I want sustained pressure. The crew responded instantly. They trusted Mercer. He'd earned that trust with blood. As the Black Star shifted position, its dark hull absorbed enemy sensor sweeps. The Creel couldn't get a solid lock. They fired blind, waves of charged particle beams lighting the void. Poor aim, Mercer sneered. Return fire. The first rail salvo ripped through the lead cruiser's forward plating. The impact was so brutal it snapped half the enemy ship's spine in one shot. Target crippled, Reddick reported, voice flat. But the Creel kept coming. The other 4 ships spread out, flanking. Smarter than the first patrol, but too slow. Mercer's eyes flicked across the tactical display. Prepare torpedo spread, full saturation. Seconds later, the Black Star launched a swarm of gravitic torpedoes, dozens of them, weaving through space like sharks scenting blood. 2 Creel cruisers opened counterfire, trying to intercept the swarm. They missed. The torpedoes struck almost simultaneously. One ship's core detonated, a blinding explosion that tore chunks from the others. Mercer watched in silence as a Creel vessel vented atmosphere, tiny insectoid bodies sucked into space, twitching. No pity. They'd done worse to humans. 3 confirmed kills, Carter called out. Bring us about. Close in, Mercer ordered. His tone was cold now. No thrill, just grim resolve. The Black Star surged forward, silent and deadly. The last 2 enemy ships regrouped, shields flaring. They fired a concentrated barrage, a desperate final strike. Brace, Mercer called. The deck shuddered as impacts rocked the Black Star, but its armor held. Advanced ablative layers and phase dampeners absorbed most of the blast. Minor damage, no breaches. Now it was time to finish it. Plasma lances, full charge, Mercer commanded. A low hum filled the bridge as the weapon capacitors overloaded, driving more power than safety regulations allowed. No one cared about safety now. Fire! Twin beams of white-hot plasma leapt from the Black Star's forward cannons, carving through the nearest enemy ship. The Creel vessel split apart, molten metal and bone spraying into the void. The final cruiser turned to flee. Mercer's lips curled in contempt. "Pursuit vector, railguns, continuous fire." Rounds hammered into the retreating ship's engines, blowing them apart. The Creel cruiser drifted, helpless. On the bridge, silence fell. "Enemy force eliminated," Carter said. "No survivors detected." Mercer exhaled slowly. "Good. Log it. Clear the wreckage. We move on." But even as the crew worked, new intel came in. A larger Creel fleet was gathering deeper in the expanse. 20 ships, maybe more. A full battle group. Mercer leaned forward. "They're pulling everything they've got." "They must be desperate," Carter said, "or arrogant." Mercer knew what this meant. The Black Star was alone out here. No backup, no escape route. Just one ship against a fleet. Exactly how he liked it. He stood, gaze hard. "Gentlemen, we've bled them. Now we break them. Helm, plot intercept. We hit them before they're ready." Reddick grinned wolfishly. "About time we had some fun." The men around the bridge nodded. No fear. They all knew this might be a one-way run, but that's what they'd signed up for. That's why they were here, on this ship, under this captain. The Black Star burned hard, engines screaming, racing toward the heart of the enemy fleet. An hour later, the Creel formation came into view. A massive armada spread across a debris-strewn sector. Battleships, carriers, escort craft, every ship the Dominion could muster. Carter whistled low. "That's a lot of targets." "Plenty to go around," Mercer replied. He keyed the communication. "All hands to battle stations. Prepare for close assault." Reddick's voice came over the line. "We've loaded everything. Full spread, full charge. Once we start, there's no turning back." Mercer's eyes were cold steel. "We weren't planning to turn back." The Black Star closed in under cloak, weaving through sensor shadows. At this range, stealth was razor thin. The enemy would detect them any moment. Mercer waited. Timing was everything. Closer. Closer. Then, "Drop cloak! Open fire!" The Black Star erupted from the dark like a predator pouncing from the deep. Plasma lances slashed across space, gutting an enemy carrier in the first volley. Railguns hammered escort ships. Torpedoes tore into battleships. The Creel fleet reeled in shock, caught off guard, formation shattered. Return fire came, wild and chaotic. The void lit with explosions. The Black Star danced through it, shields flaring, guns roaring. A ship of death. On the bridge, Mercer barked orders. "Target their command vessels! No survivors!" The crew responded with ruthless precision. Creel flagships burned. Enemy comms burst with panicked signals, orders breaking down, captains fleeing. The Black Star pressed the attack, unrelenting. Mercer's voice was grim. "They'll remember this day, if any live but none would." The Black Star saw to that. One by one, the Creel ships fell. No escape pods were spared, no distress calls got through. It was total annihilation, a massacre written in fire and wreckage. When it was over, the expanse was silent again. The enemy fleet, gone. On the bridge, the crew sat in exhausted quiet. "Damage report?" Mercer asked. "Minimal," Carter replied. "We're still combat capable." "Good." Mercer looked out at the drifting debris. "Signal home. Sector clear. Mission continuing." He rose, voice steady. "We're not done. Not until there's no enemy left to tell the tale." And the Black Star moved on, a lone hunter in the dark, with death in its wake. 3 enemy fleets destroyed. No survivors, no prisoners, only debris fields spinning in the cold, black, twisted metal and frozen carcasses. The official reports transmitted back to High Command were clinical, stripped of emotion. Sector Sargon Expanse, enemy presence eliminated. USS Black Star continuing operations. Estimated 100% kill rate. No hostile comms traceable. But in the Federation Council chambers back on Earth, there was silence when the report was read. The politicians who had sanctioned the Black Star's deployment understood now what they'd unleashed. The galaxy would remember this. Commander Mercer didn't care. Politics was for weak men. Out here, only one truth mattered. Kill or be killed. And the war wasn't over yet. Mercer stood alone in the observation deck, eyes locked on the stars. His reflection in the reinforced glass was gaunt, pale. He hadn't slept in 48 hours. Adrenaline had replaced exhaustion. Behind him, Carter entered quietly. "New orders, sir." Mercer didn't turn. "I know." "The Creel High Warlord himself is en route. They're throwing their entire core fleet to stop us. Word is they've sworn blood vengeance. No terms, no surrender." Mercer finally turned, voice low. "Good. Saves us the trouble." Carter hesitated. "Sir, it's hundreds of ships, maybe more. Even with the Black Star—" Mercer cut him off. "They want total war? Then we'll give them extinction." He stalked back onto the bridge. The crew was waiting, every man ready. No fear, no doubt. Mercer stood at the center. "Listen up. We've hit their fleets. We've gutted their pride. Now the Creel High Warlord is bringing his armada straight to us." He let the words sink in. "They think they can break us. They think one ship can't stand against their empire." He smiled grimly. "Let's prove them wrong." A chorus of cold laughter answered. 3 days later, deep in the Sargon Rift, the Black Star waited. The Creel Armada was approaching, a vast swarm of biomechanical ships stretching across the void. Carriers, battlecruisers, swarms of drone fighters. At the center, a colossal dreadnought, the Warlord's flagship, twice the size of any human ship. Its bone-plated hull gleamed with alien glyphs of war. Carter watched the sensor feeds. "It's like a damn hive swarm." Mercer was calm. Perfect target. The Black Star was cloaked in the rift's magnetic shadows. Invisible, silent. Its weapons were primed to catastrophic levels, beyond safe tolerances. Every gun, every torpedo tube, every plasma coil was ready to burn out in one final orgy of destruction if necessary. This was not a battle. This was a death match. Mercer addressed the crew one last time. "They outnumber us 100 to 1. No one's coming to help. If we fall, Earth falls next. If we win, there will be no Creel Empire left to fight." He looked each man in the eye. "If you have doubts, stand down now. There's no shame." No one moved. Every man remained at his station. They were the Black Star's wolves, and tonight they hunted gods. The Creel fleet entered range. Carter's voice was tight. "They don't see us yet. But if they sweep the rift, they'll find us." "They won't get the chance," Mercer replied. "Fire control. Prepare Alpha Strike. Full barrage. Focus on the dreadnought. Cut off the head first." Reddick's voice crackled over the comm. "Weapons locked. Plasma at overload. Rail slugs at hyperdensity. Torpedoes ready." Mercer gave the order. "Engage." In an instant, the Black Star roared to life. Cloak dropped. A storm of fire burst forth. Rail slugs screamed across space, each one a miniature singularity. Plasma lances ripped through enemy ranks, vaporizing smaller craft in seconds. Gravitic torpedoes swarmed toward the dreadnought, drilling through its shields. The Creel were caught mid-formation. Chaos erupted. Fighters launched, ships scattered. Mercer's voice was cold fury. "Maintain pressure! No retreat!" The Black Star dove straight through the enemy fleet, a wolf among sheep. Railguns hammered escorts to slag. Plasma sheared battleships apart. Carter shouted, "The dreadnought's shields are failing." "Concentrate fire," Mercer ordered. "Bring it down." The Black Star unleashed everything. torpedoes, plasma, rail rounds, a crescendo of destruction. The Creel dreadnought shuddered. Its spine split. Core detonated. A sun-bright explosion swallowed dozens of nearby ships. The shockwave battered the Black Star, but its reinforced hull held. On the bridge, men roared in savage triumph. Mercer didn't smile. "We're not done. Target their command carriers next." For hours, the Black Star wove through the enemy fleet, killing without pause. Carter's hands bled from gripping the controls. "Hull at 60%, weapons overheating." "Keep firing," Mercer commanded. The crew obeyed. Railguns glowed white-hot. Plasma coils screamed. Enemy reinforcements poured in. The Creel fought with suicidal fury now, swarming the Black Star. Fighters latched onto the hull. Mercer stalked to the weapons bay himself, found Reddick. "Detonate the hull charges," he ordered. Reddick's eyes gleamed. About time. Explosive charges ringed the Black Star's armor, a fail-safe, close-range anti-boarding defense. Reddick keyed the detonator. The ship shuddered violently. Shockwaves blasted attached fighters into debris. "Shields back to 70%, Carter gasped. Mercer's voice was iron. "Continue attack, run!" By now, half the Creel fleet was wreckage. The rest was panicked, retreating in all directions. Their high warlord was dead, their command structure shattered. But Mercer pressed on. Pursue. No escape. For another hour, the Black Star hunted, tracking fleeing Creel ships, executing them one by one. No mercy, no survivors. By the end, the rift was a graveyard. Silence fell on the bridge. Smoke hung in the air. Men sat bloodied, exhausted. Systems were battered, ammo nearly gone. But they were alive, victorious. Carter looked at Mercer. "Sir, I think we did it. No signals left, no enemy movement." Mercer nodded slowly. "Log it. Sector cleared." The comms officer spoke hesitantly. "Incoming transmission, from Earth." "Put it through." A cold-faced admiral appeared on screen. "Commander Mercer, report." Mercer's voice was hoarse, but steady. "Creel High Warlord dead. Enemy armada destroyed. No survivors. Sector purged." The admiral was silent a moment. "You understand what this means?" Mercer's gaze was unflinching. "The Creel Empire is finished." "Indeed." The admiral's tone was unreadable. "Stand by for new orders." The screen went dark. Mercer turned to his crew. "We'll refit. Reload. Then we move on." Carter stared at him. "You really think there's anyone left to fight?" Mercer's voice was ice. "There's always more." And so the Black Star drifted through the wreckage, engines humming low, a lone predator in a graveyard of its own making. No enemy lived to tell the tale, and no man aboard would ever forget the night the stars burned red. The Black Star hung in the void, silent and scarred, drifting among the wreckage of the Creel Armada. The stars were dim out here, the rift's magnetic fields casting eerie shadows across the battered hull. Sections of armor were scorched, several weapon systems offline. The ship's engines groaned under strain. But she was still alive. And so was her crew. Commander Mercer stood alone on the observation deck, watching the drifting bones of the enemy fleet. No enemy signals, no survivors. The Creel Empire, once feared across the outer colonies, was broken. Its heart destroyed in a single, merciless strike. Yet Mercer felt no triumph. He knew what was coming next. The galaxy wouldn't stay silent after this. The first sign came 12 hours later. A faint signal intercepted by the Black Star's comm array. A burst of encoded data bouncing across deep space relays. Carter brought it to the bridge. "Sir, you'll want to see this." Mercer scanned the decrypted message. His eyes narrowed. A joint transmission, multiple alien factions. The Ordani Syndicate, the Zaran Pact, even whispers of hegemony forces stirring in the core systems. They all said the same thing. Human warship Black Star declared enemy of galactic order. Bounty issued. Extermination fleets authorized. Mercer's jaw tightened. So, they fear us now. More than fear, Carter said quietly. They mean to hunt us. Mercer's voice was cold steel. Let them come. But High Command had other ideas. 2 days later, a priority message arrived. Live channel. The Admiral himself. Mercer accepted the call in the briefing room. The lights dim. The Admiral's face was hard, lined with tension. You've made quite an impact, Commander. Mercer didn't blink. We did what was ordered. More than that, the galaxy's balance is shifting. The Creel were brutal, yes, but their fall has created a vacuum. Now the other factions smell blood. They're mobilizing. Expected. The Admiral's gaze sharpened. Understand this. You've become a symbol. The Black Star is legend now. To our enemies, a nightmare. To some in the Council, a liability. Mercer's eyes darkened. Are you grounding us? Number. But your mission parameters are changing. A new data packet flashed onto Mercer's console. Priority targets, fleet movements, intelligence on rising threats. The Admiral continued, voice grim. You are authorized to continue operations. But be warned, bounty hunters, privateers, rogue fleets, they'll all be coming for you now. No safe harbors, no reinforcements. You're alone. Mercer's answer was ice. We've always been alone. The Admiral's gaze flickered. Good hunting, Commander. Earth is watching. The screen went dark. Mercer returned to the bridge, unreadable. Carter met him with a grim look. Orders? Mercer stood at the center console. We move. No waiting. No port calls. Where to? Mercer brought up the star map. Dozens of sectors lighting up with new threat signatures. Factions maneuvering. New alliances forming. He pointed to a sector near the outer rim. Deep space, long unpatrolled. Here, intel reports hegemony warbands gathering. Smugglers, mercenaries, we strike first. Carter hesitated. Sir, the crew's exhausted. The ship needs repairs. If we go in now... Mercer's voice cut like a blade. If we stop, we die. Out here, we hunt. Or we're hunted. Around the bridge, the crew heard. No one protested. They understood. The Black Star was a shark now. If it stopped swimming, it would sink. The journey to the rim sector took 4 days. 4 days of tense silence, emergency repairs, and battle drills. The ship groaned with every jump. Armor plates were welded hastily, weapons recalibrated. The men slept in shifts, weapons within reach. They knew bounty hunters were already looking for them. Rumors spread of Zaran assassins, Ordani cloaked ships, pirate fleets promising riches for the Black Star's head. But none dared strike, not yet. The Black Star's legend was too fresh, too terrible. The rim sector was a wasteland, lawless, unclaimed space, perfect hunting grounds. Carter watched the scanners. Multiple contacts, unaligned ships, no transponder codes, could be mercs, could be pirates. Mercer's gaze was cold. Doesn't matter, we hit them all. The first engagement was swift. A trio of pirate frigates lurking near a derelict station. They tried to run the moment the Black Star decloaked. They didn't get far. Rail slugs tore through their engines. Plasma lances shredded their hulls. No escape pods were spared. Carter exhaled. They weren't ready for us. Mercer's eyes stayed on the tactical display. The ones coming next will be. Within hours, the sector stirred. Word spread fast in the underworld. The Black Star was here, wounded, alone. A prize beyond measure. Soon, the hunters came. The first real threat was an Ordani raider squadron, sleek, fast corvettes armed with disruptor beams and grav mines. They struck from cloak ambushing the Black Star mid-transit. But Mercer had expected this. "Countermeasures," he ordered. "Full spread, mines and flak." Explosions rocked the void as the Black Star's defensive grid detonated the incoming mines. Railguns locked onto the nearest corvette, blasting it apart. More raiders swarmed in, nimble, darting through debris. Carter shouted, "Shields at 40%! We've got hull breaches! Decks 9 and 12! Seal them! Helm! Hard turn! Bring plasma to bear!" The Black Star spun violently, its plasma lances cutting a fiery arc. 2 more corvettes vaporized. The remaining attackers scattered, fleeing into the black. Mercer's voice was iron. "Pursue! No survivors." The next wave came hours later, a Zeran kill squad, advanced stealth frigates, heavily shielded, crewed by veteran assassins. They used ECM, jamming the Black Star's sensors. For the first time, the crew fought blind, alarms blaring, targeting systems struggling. Carter gritted his teeth. "We can't lock them." Mercer's voice was calm. "Then we force them into the open." He ordered a full burn through a nearby debris field, detonating wreckage to flush out the cloaked frigates. The gambit worked. The Zerans blinked onto sensors mid-evade. "Fire!" Rail slugs and plasma blasts converged. The fight was brutal. 2 hours of cat and mouse. By the end, the Zeran ships were wreckage. The Black Star's hull was scorched, systems taxed to the limit. But Mercer stood on the bridge, unbroken, his crew bloodied, exhausted, but undefeated. Carter leaned against the console, wiping sweat from his brow. "We can't keep this up forever." Mercer's gaze was cold fire. "We won't have to." He brought up new intel, a coded transmission intercepted from a pirate relay. A bounty fleet was massing, dozens of ships, a coalition of enemies bound by greed and fear, and they were coming here. Now Mercer looked at his crew. "They're coming to finish us." Silence. The men waited. Mercer's voice was steel. "Good. Let them come. We'll make this our kill zone." He pointed to a nearby gas giant, dense rings, perfect for ambush tactics. "Set course. We'll bleed them dry." And the Black Star moved once more, a battered predator, teeth bared, ready for the next kill. The Black Star drifted into the rings of the gas giant, a graveyard of ancient rock and ice, dense clouds scattering sensor pings and masking heat signatures. Perfect cover. Commander Mercer stood on the bridge, eyes locked on the swirling chaos outside the viewport. Behind him, the crew worked in silence, exhaustion hanging over them like a shroud. They'd been fighting non-stop for days, but no one had broken. Not yet. Carter glanced up from the tactical console. "Contact. Multiple signatures inbound. It's them." Mercer's jaw tightened. "Put it on screen." The holo display lit up. An incoming fleet, over 30 ships, pirate cruisers, syndicate raiders, Zeran gunboats, even a few rogue Federation vessels flying false flags. A bounty fleet, a pack of jackals smelling blood. They wanted the Black Star's head, and they were coming to take it. In the crew quarters, men strapped into combat harnesses. Weapons were distributed, boarding guns, knives, explosive charges. Every man understood the stakes. There would be no surrender, no prisoners. In the engineering bay, Chief Reddick worked with his crew, rerouting damaged systems, pushing the Black Star's battered core to its limits. "We can give her one more fight," he muttered. "But after this..." He didn't finish. They all knew. Back on the bridge, Mercer addressed the crew over ship-wide comms. His voice was calm, cold, steady. "You've seen the fleet. You know what they want. 30 ships against 1. No reinforcements. No way out." He paused. The men waited, breath held. "We are the Black Star. We are the reason they fear the dark. We are the blade they'll choke on." A low growl of approval rumbled through the ship. No fear, only resolve. Mercer gave the final order. Prepare for battle. The bounty fleet entered the rings, formation spread wide, scanning. They knew the Black Star was here, but not where. Not yet. Mercer waited, eyes on the tactical display. Hold position. Let them come closer. The enemy ships advanced, sensors sweeping the dense clouds, weapons charged. They were cautious. They'd seen the wreckage left behind in the Sargon Rift. They knew this would not be an easy kill. Then, an opening. One of the pirate cruisers drifted too close to a dense cluster of rock and ice. Mercer's voice snapped out. Target acquired. Fire rail slugs erupted from the Black Star's hidden batteries, spearing the cruiser through its core. A blinding explosion lit the ring field. The fleet reacted instantly, weapons flaring, formations tightening. But it was too late. The Black Star was on the move. Engage full attack pattern, Mercer ordered. No retreat. The Black Star surged through the debris, plasma lances carving a path of destruction. The first wave of enemy ships crumpled under the assault. Gunboats shattered, raiders vented atmosphere into space. But the fleet pressed in, swarming from all sides. The Black Star's shields flickered under the strain, armor plates buckling. Shields at 30%, Carter shouted. Maintain course, Mercer barked. Target their command ships. In the engineering bay, systems screamed as Reddick pushed the core harder. Reroute power, hold those damn coils together. The ship groaned under the strain, but held. The battle raged for hours. The Black Star fought like a cornered beast, teeth bared, claws slashing. For every enemy ship destroyed, 2 more took its place. The crew fought with grim determination. Ammo stores dwindled, hull breaches spread, fires burned unchecked on lower decks, but no man left his post. Then, the turning point. A rogue Federation battleship, twice the Black Star's size, led the next assault wave. Its heavy guns battered the Black Star's shields, forcing the ship deeper into the ring field. Carter's voice was strained. We can't take much more of this. Mercer's eyes blazed. We're not running. Bring the railguns to max charge. Target their bridge. Reddick's voice crackled over comms. That'll burn out the coils. Do it! The rail batteries screamed as power surged through them. Supercharged slugs fired. 2, 3, spearing the enemy battleship's bridge in a single devastating strike. The ship spiraled out of control, engines detonating. The explosion sent shockwaves through the enemy fleet. Confusion. Panic. Mercer seized the moment. Press the attack! No mercy! The Black Star surged forward, guns blazing. Enemy ships scattered, some breaking formation, others trying to flee. Carter grinned through bloodied lips. They're running! Not fast enough, Mercer growled. Finish them! One by one, the remaining enemy ships were hunted down, destroyed without hesitation. By the time the last pirate gunboat was reduced to drifting wreckage, the ring field was a charnel house. Wrecked ships, frozen corpses, debris fields glowing with fire. Silence returned. On the bridge, the crew slumped in their seats, drained. Carter wiped sweat from his brow. We did it. Mercer remained standing, gaze hard. Damage report. Shields down. Weapons at 20%. Hull integrity critical. We can't fight another battle. Mercer nodded slowly. He knew. The Black Star was bleeding. They had pushed beyond what any ship, or any crew, should survive. But they were still alive. And no enemy lived to tell the tale. In the hours that followed, emergency repairs began. Fires were extinguished. Hull breaches sealed. The dead were counted. 15 crew lost. Dozens more wounded. In the observation deck, Mercer stood alone once more, watching the drifting wreckage. They had won, but at a terrible cost, and the war was far from over. Then, a new signal. Faint, distant, a single encoded burst. Carter brought it to the bridge. "Sir, it's from High Command, Priority 1. Mercer read the message. His eyes narrowed. "They want us to return to Sol. Now." The crew exchanged looks. Return to Earth? After all this? Mercer's voice was grim. "Plot a course. We're not out of this yet." And as the Black Star limped toward the core worlds, one truth echoed in every man's mind. The galaxy would never forget the name Black Star, and neither would its enemies. The journey back to Sol took 9 days. 9 long, tense days in the cold dark. The Black Star limped through hyperspace, its battered engines groaning with every jump. Inside the ship, the mood was grim. Repair crews worked around the clock to patch what they could. Power conduits rerouted, life support stabilized. The hull still bled radiation from half a dozen breaches. The men were quiet. No boasts, no talk of glory. They'd stared death in the face and knew it would come again. Mercer barely left the bridge. He slept in his chair, one eye always on the star map. He knew the Black Star wasn't safe, not even now. 3 days out from Sul, Carter picked up a ghost signal on long-range sensors. "Sir, looks like shadow traffic. Civi relays lighting up. Someone's leaking reports." Mercer reviewed the fragmented data. His jaw tightened. Black Star sightings, bounty updates, encrypted chatter across pirate nets and even core world news feeds. The Council was leaking the story. Deliberately. "They want the galaxy to know we're coming," Mercer said coldly. Carter frowned. "Why? We should be coming in under full blackout." Mercer's gaze hardened. "Because they're not welcoming us home." When the Black Star finally emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Sul, the proof came swift and cold. Carter stiffened. "Multiple fleet contacts, Federation ships. They're forming a perimeter." On the screen, the data lit up. 3 heavy cruisers, 6 frigates, defense platforms on high alert, no salute, no escort, no honor guard. It was a blockade. Minutes later, the call came through. High Command? Encrypted? Director. Mercer accepted the channel in silence. The Admiral's face appeared, the same man who'd given the order to unleash them. His tone was clipped, unreadable. "Commander Mercer, stand down immediately. Power down all weapons. Prepare to be boarded." Carter hissed under his breath. The crew looked at Mercer, waiting. Mercer's voice was ice. "On whose authority?" The Admiral didn't flinch. "On the authority of the Federation Council. You are to be detained pending review of actions in the Sargon Expanse and unauthorized engagement in neutral sectors." A flicker of cold rage burned in Mercer's eyes. "We followed orders. We bled for Earth, and now you turn your guns on us?" The Admiral's mask cracked for a second. Regret? Or fear? "Stand down, Mercer. You've become a political problem. Too many enemies, too much heat. The Council can't protect you anymore." Mercer's lips curled. "They never protected us. They used us." The Admiral leaned forward. "Listen to me. If you resist, they'll destroy you. The bounty's already on your head across half the galaxy. If you fight here in Sol space, you'll be branded a rogue warlord, a terrorist. The Council will erase the Black Star's name from history." Mercer sat back slowly. The bridge was silent, every man watching. And then, a cold smile touched his lips. "So be it." He cut the channel, turned to his crew. "They've shown their hand. We're not welcome here. They'd rather kill us than face what we've become." Carter swallowed. "Orders, sir?" Mercer rose from his chair. His voice was iron. "Battle stations, prepare to break the blockade." It was madness. One crippled warship against a fleet of fresh cruisers. No sane commander would have given the order. But this was the Black Star. And these were her wolves. Alarms rang across the ship. Men ran to gunnery stations. Shields flickered to life. weapons spun up, patched, and primed. In the engineering bay, Reddick grinned through blood and grease. One more fight. Let's burn them all. The Federation cruisers moved to intercept. Comm channels flooded with warnings, demands to surrender. Mercer ignored them. His eyes were locked on the tactical display. Helm, bring us into the debris field near Titan. Close quarters. Force them into knife range. Carter blinked. Sir, they've got superior numbers. Mercer's voice was cold fire. They think they've won already. Let's teach them fear again. The Black Star surged forward, engines flaring. The cruisers opened fire, long-range plasma beams streaking across the void. The Black Star's battered shields flared and cracked. Armor plates shattered, but she kept coming. Through the Titan debris field, the Black Star danced, a wounded beast still deadly. Railguns fired in brutal bursts, shattering a frigate's engines. Plasma lances carved through a second ship's flank. But the Federation ships pressed hard. The Black Star shuddered under constant bombardment. Fires erupted on multiple decks. Life support faltered. Carter shouted, "Shields failing! We can't take much more!" Mercer's gaze was steel. "We don't need to take it. We strike first." He keyed the comm to engineering. "Reddick, core overload. 1 pulse, 1 shot." A pause. Then Reddick's voice, grim and eager. "Aye, sir. Setting overload. This'll fry the coils." The Black Star's core built to critical, the ship groaning with strain. "Fire!" Mercer ordered. A massive pulse of energy burst from the Black Star's main gun, a point-blank rail slug supercharged with core plasma. It struck the lead cruiser dead center. The ship detonated in a sun-bright flash, shockwaves ripping through nearby vessels. The blockade wavered, formation broken. Confusion rippled through the fleet. Mercer seized the moment. "All engines break through!" The Black Star plunged through the gap, battered, burning, but unbroken. Alarms screamed, fires raged, hull breaches tore open, but the ship clawed its way clear of the blockade, engines blazing. Carter gasped, "We're through. They can't catch us." Mercer stood at the center of the shattered bridge, smoke and blood everywhere. His voice was a growl. "Set course, deep black, no trails, we vanish." The Black Star jumped to hyperspace, fleeing into the void. Behind them, in Seoul, the Council burned with shame and fear. The Black Star was rogue now, an enemy of the state, but no one who fought her would forget, and no enemy would live to tell the tale. Deep space, no beacons, no relays, no allies. The Black Star drifted alone in the abyss between stars. No communications, no transponders. Running dark. Its engines coughed with every burn. The hull was scarred, venting heat like a dying animal. Half the systems were jury-rigged with stripped wires and raw cables. But the ship still breathed. So did its crew, and that meant the hunt would continue. Commander Mercer sat in the darkened bridge, eyes fixed on the void outside. He hadn't slept since the blockade run. The Council's betrayal burned in his veins like acid. They'd turned on him, branded his crew as traitors, declared the Black Star a rogue warship. But they'd failed to kill him. Now the whole galaxy would pay the price. Carter entered quietly, datapad in hand. "Sir, latest intel scrape." Mercer glanced over the fractured data. Fragmented pirate feeds, underground reports. The Black Star's name was everywhere now. "Rogue warship sighted. Bounty doubled. Kill on sight." Mercer's jaw tightened. "They won't stop until we're ashes." Carter hesitated. "Sir, supplies are low. Ammo's down to 20%. Core is failing. The men—" Mercer looked at him, eyes cold. "They knew what this ship was when they signed on. We fight. We survive. We kill." He stood slowly. There is no going back. In the lower decks, Reddick and the engineers worked through the night, stripping power from life support to feed the core, splicing old coils to keep the weapons online. Reddick wiped grease from his face. She'll fly, and she'll kill, but this bird won't take another blockade. 3 days out, the Black Star crossed into dead space, an abandoned sector known as the Scars. Old battlefields, shattered moons, drifting wrecks from wars long forgotten. Perfect ground for a hunted predator. Mercer called the crew to assembly. They stood battered, bloodied from past battles, faces gaunt, uniforms torn, but their eyes still burned with the same cold fire. Mercer's voice was low, steady. "We are alone. The Council hunts us. The factions hunt us. No ports, no allies." He let that sink in. "Good. No one to hold us back." He pointed to the star map. "Scanners show an Ordani strike force moving through this sector. 40 ships. A bounty fleet." A few men cursed under their breath. Others grinned. Mercer's voice hardened. "They think we're broken. They think we'll run." He leaned forward. "We'll show them what the Black Star really is." The trap was set. In the Scars, the Black Star hid among wreckage fields, power dampened, hull cold, waiting. Hours passed. Then, contact. Carter's voice was tense. "Ordani fleet entering the field, formation loose. They're sweeping for us." Mercer's eyes gleamed. Patience. The enemy fleet spread wide, scanning the debris. Dozens of sleek ships, raiders, cruisers, heavy frigates, all hunting one prize. Mercer waited. Breath slow, pulse steady. Then, a critical gap in their formation. A cruiser exposed. Mercer's voice was ice. "Fire!" The Black Star's guns roared to life. A single rail slug punched through the Ordani cruiser, detonating its core. The explosion blinded half the enemy sensors. Before they could react, plasma lances carved through 2 more ships. The enemy fleet scrambled, comms flaring with panic. But the Black Star was already on the move, weaving through wreckage like a ghost. The battle was brutal, chaotic. The Black Star struck fast, vanished, struck again. Each pass claimed another victim. Ordani ships fired blindly, their beams cutting empty space, their vaunted formations shattered in minutes. On the bridge, Mercer's voice never wavered. "Target their engines, no escape." One by one, the enemy ships were crippled, venting life into the void. The Black Star left no survivors. Boarding pods were destroyed before they launched. Escape shuttles vaporized. No one would live to report. No one would tell the tale. By the time the last Ordani ship burned, the Scars were silent again. Only drifting wreckage remained. Carter slumped at his console, breath ragged. We did it." Mercer's voice was a cold whisper. "Again." The crew stared. He pointed to the next sector. "Zeran fleet reported moving in. We strike before they gather." And so the Black Star moved on, a bleeding predator, teeth bared, eyes unblinking. The news spread like wildfire across the underground. "Black Star alive. Bounty fleet destroyed. No survivors." Panic rippled through the factions. Fear. The Council's grip weakened. The Black Star had become more than a rogue ship. It was legend now, a ghost in the dark. But legends could not rest. In the black of space, Mercer stood alone on the observation deck, watching the stars. His reflection stared back, gaunt, unshaven, eyes hollow. He didn't care. He'd burn the whole damn galaxy if he had to. Behind him, Carter approached quietly. "Sir, word from Reddick. Core's near critical. If we push again without full repairs..." Mercer's gaze stayed on the void. "How long?" "Maybe days, maybe hours." Mercer's voice was ice. "Then we make them count." He turned to face the bridge crew. "Prepare for the next strike." The Black Star surged into the next sector, another battlefield, Another kill zone. And behind them, across the stars, enemies gathered in fear. The council whispered in panic. Factions turned on each other, because the Black Star was still hunting, and no enemy would live to tell the tale. The end was coming. Mercer could feel it in his bones. The Black Star had pushed beyond the edge of reason. Weeks on the run, systems burned out, hull near rupture, supplies almost gone, crew stretched to breaking. But they were still alive, still fighting, and that mattered more than anything. The ship drifted in the ruins of an ancient station, Sector K9, forgotten by the Council, haunted by the wreckage of dead wars. No beacon, no patrols, the perfect place for a last stand. Reddick staggered into the bridge, grease-smeared and pale. "Core's shot, Commander. One more push, and she'll go critical." Mercer nodded once. No fear, no hesitation. "We won't need another push," Carter spoke, voice low. "Sir, new intel just came through." He brought up the fractured data, a broken signal half-scrambled across old pirate relays, a coalition fleet, Federation loyalists, Ziran Pact, Syndicate mercs, Council sanction, coming here, over 100 ships. The bounty had tripled. Now it wasn't about credits, it was about fear, about erasing the legend before it consumed the galaxy. Mercer's jaw tightened. "Good. Let them come." He stood before the crew one last time. Battered men, bloodied and burned, but unbowed. His voice carried through the ship. "They come to kill us, not because we're weak, but because we showed them the truth." A pause. Eyes met his, steady and cold. "No one here will surrender. No one will run. We fight, and if we die, we take them all with us." The crew roared in reply, hoarse, savage, final. Preparations began. Reddick and his team wired the core to overload, one last failsafe. If they were boarded, the Black Star would detonate, taking the enemy fleet with it. Carter rerouted the last of the weapons grid, focusing on railguns and plasma lances. No shields left, no point defense, just raw firepower. The men strapped into gunnery harnesses. No escape pods were armed. No one would flee. Then, the first contacts. Carter's voice was grim. "Enemy fleet emerging from hyperspace. Full formation." Mercer leaned forward, eyes gleaming. "Battle stations." The void lit up as the fleet arrived, a storm of ships blotting out the stars. Federation cruisers, Syndicate raiders, Ziran warships bristling with guns. 100 ships, one target, the Black Star. Mercer watched them, calm as death. "Let them come into range." The fleet advanced slowly, cautiously. They knew the legend now. They knew what the Black Star could do, but numbers made them bold. Then, the first mistake. A Ziran frigate drifted too close, sweeping for cloaked drones. Mercer's voice was cold steel. "Fire." The Black Star's railguns ripped the frigate apart in seconds, molten debris scattering through the fleet. The enemy opened fire, plasma beams and torpedoes streaking through space. The Black Star surged forward, weaving through the storm, guns blazing. One cruiser crippled, 2 Syndicate raiders gutted, escape pods vaporized before launch. The Black Star's hull screamed with each hit, armor buckling, fires spreading. Carter's voice was raw. "Hull at 20%, core critical." Mercer gritted his teeth. "Keep firing!" The enemy closed in, swarming from all sides. Boarding ships launched, racing toward the Black Star. Reddick's voice echoed from engineering. "They breach us. I blow the core." Mercer answered without hesitation. "Do it." The battle raged. The Black Star fought like a demon, a storm of rail slugs and plasma carving a path of death, but the enemy kept coming. Decks collapsed. Fires raged. Sections vented to space. Men fought hand to hand as boarding parties broke through. Carter, bloodied, held the helm with one hand, the other clutching a sidearm. "They're inside, sir." Mercer stood tall, rifle in hand. "Hold them, to the last." The core thrummed with unstable energy, ready to detonate. In the heart of the ship, Reddick armed the failsafe, his voice calm. "For the Black Star." On the bridge, Mercer raised his rifle. Around him, the last of his wolves prepared for the final stand. Then, one last transmission cut through the static. The Admiral, Liv, desperate. "Mercer, stand down. We'll offer terms. The Council will pardon your crew. You don't have to die here." Mercer laughed, cold, bitter. "You had your chance." He cut the channel. Then, the boarders breached the bridge. Gunfire erupted. Men fell. Blood sprayed across the consoles. Mercer fought like a man possessed, rifle blazing, knife in hand when the ammo ran dry. But numbers told. One by one, his crew fell. Carter was hit, dragged down in a hail of rounds. His last words a hoarse snarl. "No surrender." Mercer stood alone, blood-soaked, battered, the last wolf. Enemy soldiers swarmed in, guns raised. A Zoran commander barked, "Surrender! It's over!" Mercer smiled, cold, triumphant. "Number, it's just begun." He hit the detonator. The Black Star's core erupted. A sun was born in the void. The explosion consumed the ship, then the fleet. A chain reaction of plasma and fusion tearing through hulls, rupturing reactors. In minutes, the Coalition fleet was gone, reduced to fire and ash. No survivors, no signal, no tale to tell. Across the galaxy, silence fell. Rumors spread, whispered in pirate dens and council halls alike. The Black Star was dead, but it had taken its killers with it. And in the dark corners of space, men still spoke the name with fear. Black Star, a ghost in the void. A ship that had fought the galaxy and died on its own terms. No enemy had lived to tell the tale.